So there I was, hula hooping in my hotel hallway, and a guest directly across the hallway from me opens his door and sees me there. Has that ever happened to you? No? Hi there, I'm Sierra. I'm turning 50 this year, and today I'm sharing a journey I embarked on recently of hula hooping every day for 10 minutes. As part of my year-long excitement of turning 50, I am doing a monthly challenge and I decided to hula hoop. If you're new here, I'm so glad you stopped by. I am laughing my way through life's adventures. Sometimes they're real adventures where it's traveling and experiencing new things, to shopping hauls, to decluttering. If that sounds good, number one, I invite you to watch the rest of this video. And number two, please consider subscribing. It costs nothing. My mom thought you had to pay for a subscription. No, it's free. How did it go with my month of hula hooping? As you would imagine, my hula hooping adventure had its twists and turns. I had to. Okay, right away, day like 2 or 3, I started feeling it right here on my hip bones. My hip bones are kind of getting a little sore, so I don't know what you do for that, if you just get used to it. The hoop hitting my bones over and over again, and that wasn't too long lasting. A little later in the month, my lower back started hurting, and I realized watching on video that I was leaning forward. Really worked on my posture and my core engagement, and then that also went away. The other thing that really hurt was trying to do the hand hooping and having it hit against the back of my hand. It hurt more than I would have thought. Ow. And then of course there were just the random bruises from, swinging it or running into things. Okay, finding space to hoop ended up being one of the biggest challenges. Where do you do it? You need a big footprint to be able to swing that hoop around. I started doing it downstairs and right away was hitting my dogs in the face. For whatever reason, I thought the dogs would be scared of it and just give me space. They didn't understand that it was coming around, the rotation, and so I had to move upstairs. I was hitting the walls. I even tried doing some lassos and some hand hooping and ended up hitting my ceiling a few times. So then I was up there with the Mr. Clean magic eraser, wiping down the walls and the ceiling. And I tried going in the backyard and felt like I didn't have enough space back there. We have a pool and I was so worried that it was going to end up in the pool, and then the dogs came out and I was hitting the dogs again. Then I tried the garage, but it was raining and dark in there and didn't have enough light. So eventually I ended up in my driveway. We live on a pretty busy street, not a little court, but a street. Like the main thoroughfare through our neighborhood. I got a few odd looks. At one point, our mail carrier came by while I was hooping. Hi. So people saw me, they waved at me. It was what it was. So during the month, I had 2 trips, one for business and one was a vacation that we had planned. And my first thought was, how am I going to get this hoop to come with me? I did get the hoop as a Christmas gift from Nick this year, and when I received it, it was twisted and it was half its size. So I thought there was a chance that maybe it could be twisted again and reduced in size. I asked my friend Karen, who was my inspiration for this whole challenge, if it could be done. She assured me it could. So I found a video on YouTube and was able to twist it to condense it. I didn't want it to be a separate item, so I tied it with a cute little ribbon onto my backpack handle and walked with it into the airport. Then I asked her, are you sure it goes through that TSA belt and it fits in there? She said, sure, no problem. I still held my breath when it went through that first time because I wasn't sure it was going to fit. It did. The next step was to put it under my seat on the airplane. It fit again. I actually didn't have any challenges with it. The first time I traveled, I felt like, oh my gosh, people are staring at me, but I have to take it. The 4th trip that I took, I had actually kind of forgotten that I had it there and it was no big deal. The first trip I went on was to Las Vegas for work. And before my room was ready, I went to our event venue and it had such a beautiful display of lights that I actually undid my hoop and made it full size and did a little hooping scene there in the middle of the walkway. So then my hoop was big and it's kind of a challenge to condense it and twist it again. So then I was walking through the casino with my full-size hoop. Well, you can imagine the attention I was getting. I'm sure people thought I was a professional entertainer there to be part of some Cirque du Soleil act, which I'm clearly not. But it was fun getting all that attention, and I did not correct people's assumptions. For the most part, I just hula hooped in my hotel room from fabulous Las Vegas. But then that moment I shared in the intro did occur where I thought, why not? I'll hoop in my hallway and see what happens. I thought you might like to see what actually went down. Whoa. Sorry.
I don't want it. You want me to video it?
No, I'm good. Are you coming out?
Oh, you want me to wait?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Come on out.
Of all, look, he shouldn't shock me. It's Vegas. But of all the things I thought I would see is a beautiful blonde doing hula hoop outside my window, and I didn't pay for it.
Okay, that's your free show for tonight.
You gotta take the top off.
You gotta pay for the next one.
Oh shit! I love Vegas.
The second trip was towards the end of the month and the end of my challenge to Hawaii. Hula hoop. I love the idea of hooping on the beach. Unfortunately, our location did not have beach access, and so I ended up more on the grass, but with the beach in view. For the most part, I just hooped in our rented Airbnb, but then for my very last hoop, I did make sure to go out to the beach so I could get a sunset hooping experience. What was I actually able to do from a hooping standpoint? Was I able to get better? Was I able to learn tricks? I did play little games with myself just with straight hooping to see how many times in a row I could go. And I think I got up to 200 or 300, or how many minutes I could hoop for. And maybe my top was about 5 minutes. That was 3.5 minutes. I did want to learn a couple of things. The first things I learned in the first few days was how to rotate the opposite direction. 5 days ago when I started this, I couldn't even get it to go in the opposite direction. Towards the end, I felt pretty confident in my clockwise directional capability. It still was not my stronger or preferred side. I also did try some hand hooping during the month and trying some different tricks, going from the lasso and going down or going back up. I practiced that quite a bit actually, and I don't know if I ever nailed it or got it looking good, but it was fun to try it. Later in the month, Karen and I met up at a park and she walked me through some of the tricks that she does. She makes it look so effortless when she hoops. It was so refreshing and inspiring to see someone that was so much more comfortable than me hooping. It was really enjoyable to watch her hoop and think that maybe someday I could hoop like that. As I was trying to teach myself and learn new tricks, it definitely felt awkward and maybe even a little embarrassing. I feel like a pterodactyl half the time. I was recording a lot of what I was doing and posting it in my stories, which you can still see in my highlights on my Instagram account. So go follow me there if you're not already. I will have to say with these monthly challenges, I've just had to put all self-consciousness aside. Really, if I'm gonna be embarrassed, I mean, what am I doing here on YouTube? I do feel like my hooping improved from the beginning of the month to the end of the month. Definitely able to go in both directions was a big improvement. I learned kind of some tricks along the way. Yes. But the biggest thing I think for me was going from something very robotic and very concentrated to something that was a little looser and a little more graceful. Or, you know, just feeling the music and more of a dancing than something that was so stiff and took so much concentration. Okay, so obviously if you're hooping every day for 10 minutes, there is a cardiovascular benefit to moving your body. I would say my heart rate wasn't super elevated, not like running or rowing really hard, but equivalent more to a fast-paced walk. A particular benefit is core strength. So this was pretty interesting and I didn't notice it until much later in the month, but it had to do with balance. I was at a row class and we were doing some floor work off of the ergs. Typically, I'm much better able to balance on one leg than the other. And I noticed that my balance was oddly very strong on both sides. And I definitely attributed that to working my core using the hula hoop. I found that just a huge benefit. The other benefit of the hoop was, other than having to find a space that was large enough area-wise, pretty transportable. I mean, I could fly with it. You can take it upstairs, downstairs. It's not like a piece of gym equipment or going to a gym. You can kind of take it anywhere and it's just there with you. Like I said, later in the month when I was listening to music, it's kind of like a workout and a dance party all in one. It was a fun time. 1,000 hours. So there you have it, my journey of my month-long hula hooping challenge. Thank you so much for staying to the end. I hope you are feeling either interested, intrigued, or inspired. If you're feeling interested in my 30-day challenge, I encourage you to watch one of my other 30-day challenges. Like I said, I'm doing one every month. Some of them are overlapping. I will link here my Whole 30 challenge, my meditation challenge, so you can check out either one of those. If you're feeling intrigued, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel so you can see the rest of what I do this year. I'm doing a new challenge every month this year. I'm also doing some travel vlogs and clothing try-ons. So I am turning 50 and celebrating life and ready to try new things and sharing it with you all here. If you're feeling inspired because you've been thinking about doing a 30-day challenge, whether that's walking 10,000 steps, or maybe you want to do a hula hoop challenge of your own, this is your sign. What are you waiting for? A new month starts next month, no matter when you're watching this. So this is your sign. Do that challenge, do the 30 days. I promise you won't regret it. It may be challenging, it may be hard, it may be a lot of fun, but you're definitely gonna have a story to tell afterwards, and I can't wait to hear your story. Thanks so much for watching, and go pet a dog.